Hi guys, welcome back to Fata Morgana. Today we've just finished door 3 and before I go to door 4 I just wanted to look into some really quite interesting stuff that had happened when Maria had discovered all of the secrets behind the house and the fact that there is a lot more to this house than we realised just in the upstairs area. So yeah, oh my god, yeah, that was hilarious just seeing her proper rebellious attitude. You can tell how she is very inspired by her job. But yeah, I just wanted to look into this and then I wanted to talk about chapter 3. So let's get into it. Yeah, so the headmaid's probably an arsehole. Yeah, and isn't it interesting? You just see how much of a... If I'm going to be honest, I feel like Maria is a person who... She was normal until obviously everything had happened, and then she had totally dirtied herself with revenge, and as a result of that, she's become this really pessimistic and obviously sadistic person. And it is interesting that she feels as if somebody's there. Yeah, that is unusual. And it obviously shows an indication of who... Well, just of the original language of the person who has carved this in. What? So I'm assuming this is saying sacrifice the people who have sin so that the people who are pure can be redeemed? What? So it's as if... So you can obviously tell the age of this and how old it must be with beliefs this barbaric and, I don't know, religious. You just feel like by erasing people who have committed sin of the world, the people who are not stained with sin can be redeemed themselves, and it's always just murder with the pretense of not wanting to become dirty yourself. I don't know. Yeah, that's interesting. But I do wonder who is the sinner. And does this have a connection to the white-haired girl as well? So there is a curse, ironically. So the sinners have a curse, and then their bloodline is bound by the same fate. There's not really much connection with the people in the first 3 chapters, apart from the fact that the white-haired girl's always there. Like, there's no connection whatsoever. So obviously it can't be that. Or could this mean just people in general? Hmm. That's unusual. So whoever was writing this is kind of like a rebel. Kind of like somebody who has committed a sin, yet is not experiencing all of the punishments the others are experiencing because of not being affected by the witch's curse. And so I suppose the curse is somebody sins and then their bloodline for eternity is marked with said sin. That's unusual. This is weird though, I really wonder. I mean, it could be a coincidence, yeah, but I'm sorry, in situations like these, you just kind of have that thought of, what if your human logic of what would be normal is completely broken and it's completely opposed? Isn't it interesting that she feels subconsciously scared? Oh, wait, hang on a second. Is this the paint? Wait. Interesting. So I am assuming that what is happening is her face is all torn up, and this could possibly be the painting that was given to the white-haired girl that day. And I suppose she didn't really notice how old the painting was because of the fact that she was more focusing on what was on the painting. Yeah, it just feels like a weird sense of timelessness. The white-haired girl has only been here a year, and yet there has been a painting that has clearly shown the existence of somebody who looks exactly like her years before. Weird. I just wonder what this thing about curses and bloodlines is. I hope we get an answer, like, soon. Yeah, sure thing. Something that old looking is only a year old. Yeah, so let's just reread a little bit of this. Yeah, you did a good job there. Yeah, this feels like a line that really connects the messages of chapter 3 and chapter 2 together. That's really interesting. Yeah. It's properly cruel. But what I find really interesting about this, if anything, it shows a real alternative side to Jacopo. It shows that even though he appears on the outside to be somebody who is very economically driven, that is not everything. And if anything, the reason why he initially started this ridiculous heist, I suppose, power heist, was just because of the fact that he wanted to gain enough power to solve all of the disputes with the Bersatis and just to be able to give Maria a peaceful life as well. And yeah, giving her freedom, making them have comfortable lives, and I suppose authority so that nobody can change anything. And he has done everything with kindness. that quote, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. It's kind of like this, because what happens is he tries so hard to be able to give the people that he cares about a comfortable life, and that's why he initially gets a fascination for money, just because of the fact that in order to do that, and in order to make it so that he himself can live a peaceful life as well, he needs to obviously climb his way up the ranks. So he climbs his way up the ranks, and then he never communicates his feelings to anybody. So if you ask me, he kind of forgets in a way just what drove him to do these said money-related ventures. So then he kind of loses all of his power that he had before, just to believe in a sort of more a more humane related cause and a more emotional cause, rather than obviously just the pursuit of gaining more power and money. And obviously that doesn't help with just his outside appearance and the reputation that he maintains. Like, for example, in that first impression we saw of him, where it was being an arsehole to his wife, and also in that room full of cigar smoke talking to investors who probably are really fat, I don't know, and smoke and do alcohol and do cigarettes and stuff like that. But yeah, and I suppose he realises this now that everything's gone wrong. But I think Jacopo was never really a bad person. It's just that he let what he wanted to do for a good cause kind of take him over too much, and that kind of resulted in him being able to experience the decline as well. And I suppose what happened is he really needed peace in his life, especially with the position of the Bersati head. That's stress entirely, and that's kind of what the white-haired girl gave him, and that's why he appreciated her so much. I suppose he wanted to protect that peaceful life, and if anything, I suppose because of how much stress was going on in his life, and also just the fact that Jacopo has never really had any friends, and he's always been somebody who has been cast aside, and somebody who's just lived in discrimination. He doesn't really read people well, and I suppose he doesn't know how to deal with people well in horrible situations like this. And it's interesting with the whole climbing the ladder talk that he had with his dad, when you link that to how he responds to when he believes the wife is having an affair. Yeah, and if I'm going to be honest, I think Jacopo is actually written really, really well. He's got a really interesting side to him, and I like that he's not just some corrupt asshole businessman, and there really is so much more to him than that. And yeah, I mean, chapter 3 was a really good chapter in the end. I think chapter 2 is better. Chapter 2 is better, in my opinion, because it's more consistently interesting. I think chapter 3 only gets really, really interesting at the end. I think chapter 3 peaks higher than chapter 1, but at the same time, I think chapter 1's consistently just more. Chapter 1's better. So I think chapter 1 and 2 are better than 3, but 3 peaks more than chapter 1. Chapter 2 peaks the highest out of all of them, if you ask me. Anyway, it was a really enjoyable read. So now we're going to see whatever the fuck this next scene is. I kind of looked into it a little bit last time because I was kind of in the situation where I couldn't really quell my curiosity. And I read onwards just that little bit. But yeah, now we're going to fully read onwards, see what happens. The end of Pig Iron Manor. Maybe we have smoked without our realization. Or maybe that's just kind of what we perceive. That's so weird though. It's as if we are remembering the story. Why we have any recollection of it is anybody's question, but we're remembering the story and the maid doesn't need to tell it to us because of the fact that we are remembering it ourselves. Why? What? So the maid obviously wants us to remember, but why? And also, why is she gone now? Why can't she be here if we remember? This is weird. See, absolutely nowhere in sight. Yeah, that's unusual. Exactly, yeah, that's the weirdest thing. Yeah. Looks very, very dark. Looks like it extends to nothing but darkness. Well, I mean, we are kind of hearing a wall talk, or maybe we're having an auditory hallucination. Yeah, yeah. Hello, wall. How are you doing today? Yeah, just like they do. And yet there's nothing now. That's weird. So I do wonder if you decide not to look into the memo if you get this scene. Or maybe this is actually the fourth door. Well, it's not exactly a door, it's a painting, dumbass. Don't know what I'm thinking. Don't know. Maybe the door concept is metaphorical, because the door indicates the entrance into another world which the painting could easily provide. I don't know. Maybe you could say that. But if anything is a door, then technically, if you associate meaning with it. To a vat of ink, yeah, fair enough. Yeah, he is. Wait, what? So he's in the painting, and yet we can't see anything whatsoever. Yes, it is a pickle. Ooh. Okay, so we might learn about ourselves a bit more. So we're talking to inanimate objects. Oh. Got lots of choices. So do we... Okay, so yeah, I shouldn't have done that. That was actually really quite risky. But yeah, so we can just ask all of the questions. Which one should we do? What's the most interesting one? And this is relevant to... This is the most relevant, probably. Let's do this because it's the most relevant to what we've just read. Paintings don't talk, though. Or maybe I just don't know the world enough. I don't know. Yeah, men don't casually turn into paintings. So they're an artist, they paint stuff, they've painted regrettable things, and they've turned like this. So you've told us that you're an artist, that ironically, you've died. If you've been reincarnated, what was it? Yeah, reborn. What happened to make you get killed? Feels like anybody in this mansion dies, there's no exceptions. Just curiosity's sake, though. That's assuming he's still alive. Right. Still, my question persists. Why should we expect to see somebody who is dead within this mansion? Are we even alive ourselves? Yeah. I mean, look at us. We have no reflection in the mirror, for example. And, I mean, the maid as well. She doesn't exactly sound like somebody who has all of the normal processes that would give body heat inside her going on. I mean, she's cold as stone. So it's a painting that he's made that he really regrets and hasn't been able to tell, well, hasn't been able to say anything about the regret before he's died, and as a result of that, he's asking us to search for this person. Don't think that's going to happen, but maybe it will. God, that's the hilarious thing. We can't actually deny that possibility. We don't know who we are. What is this place? Fair enough. I mean, he doesn't think he shouldn't know who we are if we don't know ourselves. And it is interesting that even though this person has a deep connection to the person who he feels regret for, he still doesn't necessarily deny the possibility that we are him. As if we are reborn. As if that person has been reborn into someone else. It's weird, that. Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, exactly. And why is the era significant as well? I mean, he's clearly starting to remember himself more after everything that's going on. After everything that's gone on in the third door, indications of recovery, but not genuine confirmation of it. But why isn't the maid here then? You can never tell. You really can't. So obviously there's the natural question of what is going to happen in our tragedy. I don't know. I don't know. What's going to happen if we can't? I mean, it doesn't exactly give the impression... We don't exactly have the impression that we're alive here. So what happens if we can't accept said feelings? Because it's too painful, but why is there a tragedy? Well, I mean, obviously, the beginning of the visual novel indicates that there was something very brutal that happened, and if anything, I mean, the fact that a crucifix was used, it possibly indicates something really old. Or maybe just modern brutality, but I don't know. It's just easier to believe that the usage of a crucifix indicates older times. Exactly, yeah. True. Yeah, it's a very odd question, and it's a realistic outlook on it as well. It's just, you live in uncertainty and a lack of direction, or you can live with possible regrets, possible feelings that are seriously unpleasant, and maybe rejection that's so bad that you would want to kill yourself. I don't know. Imagine if we remember ourselves, but then whoever we are is so deadly that maybe we know who we are, but we're losing faith in who we are, so the maid needs to help us. What is the role the maid has in all of this, in our journey of self-discovery? Why can't she just tell us? Yeah, if anything, that actually really indicates what this guy is saying is possibly true. fair enough. Oh my god, so you're my what? Lover? I mean, I don't know. We don't even know what our gender is, so maybe. This is interesting. Why don't we look like a human being rather than like a walking cloud of shadow? It's unusual. Yeah. I'm not satisfied with this though. Why is the maid not here? I mean, if the maid was here, sure, I believe this, but I just find it hard to believe that. All of the above sometimes. Yeah. It's interesting. You run away from your memories. You run away from what made your life so awful. And you run away from your tragedy because obviously you can. You were reborn. You have no recollection of it. But I suppose even though this is your story ultimately, because of the fact that you don't know it's your story and you can't acknowledge that it's your story, it's kind of likened to someone else's story, which I find really interesting. Likened. Lichen. You can never tell. I love that note sound. So he's an immigrant, a traveller, someone who has relations with the master. I don't know, you tell me. Fair enough. I mean, if he lied, he wouldn't exactly have any ulterior motives. If he's confined to the restraints of a painting. She. Good question. I definitely know the answer. Some sort of restraint that he's having, maybe we can break it? So it's interesting, the idea of a curse and saying that people who have ties to something that happened long ago are summoned here. And maybe that's kind of like Morgana's curse. This will be interesting. And if we make an enemy, what is she going to do? And why does she care about how we learn about her ourselves? And what is our connection to her? So many questions. Such a lack of knowledge. I wonder if a lot of these questions are going to be cleared up by the end of this next door, though. True. That's a really interesting point. Imagine if that's the case. Yeah, exactly. We can actually refuse. Interesting. Of course. Weird. So that's interesting. It feels like there's something very odd about this. The fact that the concept of there being a painting is so unusual, and we have actually been sucked into a painting before, so it's not as if there's much trickery involved with this, I don't think. I just genuinely get the impression that there is supernatural here. But maybe it could be the case that the maid removed the painting and then it looked like a painting just because of the fact that it was enshrouded in darkness. And maybe there was some sort of random ghost talking and they told us to go and get the key. I don't know. Damn. I do wonder who she is. Oh my god, that's really weird. So now the painting's gone back to normal. No, I just find it so interesting that we are starting to remember, and as a result of that, the maid has disappeared, and now we are discovering the journey ourselves. But why couldn't we discover the journey ourselves before? Why did it take us this much time to remember? I just wonder what's so significant that we're able to see more of ourselves by looking at tales of people that could possibly be completely unrelated. Who knows? Oh my god. A lot of choices, fucking hell. Bit overwhelming. Isolation. Oh, right, okay. I don't really need this choice anymore. Well, no, actually, I haven't checked out what happens if we pick to refuse, so, yeah. Let's visit the places that we've seen before and see what happens. The rose garden looks oddly peaceful. And oddly bright as well. It really is as if we're being taken back into the past. I find it really weird that firstly this could be Mel here and this could actually be Nelly. It fits the characters. And obviously it sounds like how they would. I think I remember these lines from chapter 1 as well. I just wonder why we can see all of this ourselves. What is significant about this? Imagine if we're the witch of the mansion. Of course, they're dead. The fuck? Is that a person? It looks like a head of hair. It is kind of as if you are viewing a portal to the past. So why would he be able to see you? The concept of time is very, very weird here. Yeah, sounds like Mel, alright, after the tragedy. God, and look at how all of the beauty has just gone to white. This looks beautiful. Seriously, they've done such a good job with this. Do you know, I might actually take a picture of that. There we go. Yeah, my god, isn't that odd? He isn't though, he was never the one in the wrong. But I'm assuming what has happened is Nelly is murdered, and obviously the white-haired girl has been killed by her. Well, I mean, the white-haired girl ran. Yeah. That's so weird, it really is. By the way, are there... Oh, right, I see, okay. So there are 9 choices in total. Interesting, so it is kind of as if we're viewing a little time portal in a way. We're just seeing like just a really quick whistle-stop tour of everything significant that has happened within. I'll do this last. And go to the cellar and then we'll go to the door with the description that matches what's his name? Jacopo the most. God. Yeah, totally. Oh my god! That did not... that was not something I expected. God, Yukimasa. Yeah. Thanks for the very informative response. Yeah, really appreciated that. Really understood that as well. Thanks. I think it's because it's said in his native language, which is Japanese. Yeah, totally reasonable, and that's interesting. It's just as if we are an outsider, we're like everybody else in the village in a way. We're just being communicated something in a language and a way that we can never really understand. Interesting. But I just find it so odd that we try to leave and we don't see the memory fully, and yet at the same time it's just as if we have to see this. So it clearly indicates that there is something that is keeping us here, and something that is important for us to remember just who we are, but why is it important? Oh right, so it actually worked that time. Interesting. So it was as if there was something very important to communicate that we could never understand anyway, and when that communication failed, nothing happened. Weird. So I suppose, if anything, there's not really much that's significant to Jakobor now. Because I don't really know which one. It could be the library. Let's try the library. Oh wow, this looks cool. I love the books. They look so unusual. They definitely don't look like books. This really doesn't look like a library at all, if I'm going to be honest. It just looks like some sort of random suburban place. But I like it. The fuck? God. I know. Interesting. That was really unusual. So, yeah, we've just terrorised a library and then it's just as if we've never noticed it. But that's so unusual, though. I really do wonder just... It's indicative of the fact that there is something important in the library. Something that we get the book out and then we read it and then it could be something used to remember ourselves. And it's kind of as if reading something in the library would mean a cheat has been used. We've learnt about ourselves without fully remembering ourselves, and we've used something else in order to learn about ourselves, maybe, I don't know. Let's see what happens when we go to the entrance. I'll do the stained glass window next, I think. Actually, we'll do stained glass window, den, and then all of the other ones kind of have some sort of relevance to the maid, so it's a good way to structure it up a bit. Yeah, looks very, very dark. So why can't we leave? That's so unusual. It's just as if you have to learn about yourself and there is no point in declining. So weird. So we were crucified in the beginning though. So we could possibly be, I mean, obviously we weren't the witch, but maybe we could have been somebody who has sided with the witch. Whoever this witch is, she's really had a bad impression on everybody. Or maybe she could just be a poor woman who's, I don't know, people were jealous of or something and who's ostracised and used a witch is the excuse for her being bullied. Yeah, of course. Imagine if we are the witch. I kind of get the impression that there's a chance we are. I don't know. It just feels like the most essential character that we've not seen anything about. That's interesting to think about the fact that it's still here. So this might be an indication on Michelle and Gazelle's story. Yeah, interesting. So it looks like whatever this is, it has relevance to our identity. Actually, let's do this first and then let's call for the maid. Oh my god, yeah, so this... No, 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 we're not doing this. No, that's too interesting to do there. Funny sound effects. Oh, so this is Jakobos. Okay, so it's the den, right. My god, this looks beautiful. I love the colour scheme here. It just looks so otherworldly. It really, really does. It looks very dilapidated as well. Oh, I see. Even though nobody's in the room and chatting. Is that Jacopo or what? God, so that was really unusual in the sense that this person wants us to return the ball, and it's odd that he wants everything to be in kind of a constant state, as if we cannot interfere with this memory whatsoever. I wonder what happened in the library after we went. Or maybe it never even happened. Who knows? It's just so weird. I just wonder what is truly going on. I just find it really interesting that the lack of sense any of these memories make compared to when we experience them ourselves, compared to when the maid tells us the stories of what happened here. Right, fireplace. Unusual. Really, really unusual. So firstly, it's as if this rocking chair kind of has an effect on us. As if we go into said chair and we're taken back to, I suppose, peace and being able to actually fall asleep. But that's really interesting. So it's as if we are remembering someone we have talked to, somebody that has known us, if anything. But that's the really weird thing, the fact that this person seems very close to us. Firstly, we don't know their name whatsoever, but secondly, it really does feel like it's something that we have experienced before, something that's just buried away in our memory. But at the same time, you can't tell whether this is some sort of possible past memory or if it is just a dream. Just him talking to somebody in a dream. I wonder what that was. Imagine if that's the white-haired girl. Let's see what happens if we do this. We can do it again. So it's just no matter how many times we call for the maid, nothing is going to happen. Oh well, this is kind of the most inevitable choice now. I'll take a break and then I'll just read it. Anyway, here we go. Unusual. Looks very, very dark and quite ambiguous as to what is actually going on as well. I mean, of course it's shrouded in darkness. Why would we be able to... Why would it not be? We know nothing. I mean, we are in complete darkness about ourselves, so why would it be anything but? And also, the fact that it is very, very dark as well. No light whatsoever. Is this the maid? The fuck? Okay, this is really, really unusual. The fact that everything is suddenly lit up, and we have this really quite creepy silhouette here. I know it's really unusual, and especially considering it just really feels weird, the nature of reality here. I mean, we just have such a random change. It just really makes me question just what reality truly is in this story. If such a weird change like this can happen so so quickly. Oh my god, so somebody who is desperately trying to get the master up, and you do really wonder if this is us. Somebody really wants to evade responsibility. Yeah, totally reasonable. Yes, you are being really quite pushy. You're forcing him to get up and obviously experience mourning. So it seems like this person is really quite a romantic connection with whoever the master is. And maybe this person could also be a person who has some sort of relation to the artist in the painting. Could it be an arranged marriage? God, yeah, probably. And now it's completely gone. Imagine if this is the maid. But then again, the maid does feel really, really glad for us to, well, be reborn here. So you do wonder. You really do wonder. Of course, we don't have enough information. The stained glass window again. That's really quite sweet. So, it's unusual, it really is. And this too, yeah. Must have been really quite different to what this girl thought. Oh. Right, so you get an achievement for calling the maid 10 times. Weird. So we're back here again. This is the only thing we can do now. So this is what happens if we let go of the maid's hand. Oh my god, I'm actually quite surprised that we were able to see her again. I did not expect this, if I'm going to be honest. Says you weren't even there. That's so weird. What? Is there not going to be a single thing that makes sense in this session? Like, seriously? We have totally different recollections. Or she could be lying. I don't see how we could be lying. Why? Why are we that important? Says the person that doesn't even exist in a mirror, and somebody who is very, very cold as well. Oh, I need more evidence to believe that. But what if we were also a ghost and there's some sort of really weird supernatural thing that's going on? I don't know. That is actually a really good point. What about the mirror though? I don't get that. I know. It's just, I don't understand why she is a ghost and yet something like this is true. Yeah, exactly. That's what I was thinking as well. So obviously, if this is the case, where are they? And you really get the impression that they could be dead, and they could be in some sort of weird sort of afterlife that people were reborn into. That's weird. Why does she want us to remember so much? And I just find it really unusual. I think she actually tries to disguise her intentions by saying that we had lost her. I think she's doing all of this just so that we can have the potential to remember. I think the most new thing that we found was the master, and also the indication of the witch being present within the mansion too. Yeah. Yeah, but the only thing is, I mean, it's indicated that the painting never existed after when the painting becomes, well, the painting looks really dark and then it returns to something normal again. Weird. She looks really quite worried. That's unusual. It's not a joke whatsoever. I thought there were 8 doors. And I find it really interesting when we are seeing stuff that the painting told us, just the indication of the fact that something could be... Oh, let's talk about the painting in a second, but this tale, it could either be something we run away from, but, I mean, the mansion isn't exactly open. We have to be in here. It really is as if the maid is making us force she is forcing us to learn about ourselves, no matter how painful that might be. So what will happen after this? Oh my god. Is this going to be Michelle's story? Wow. That looks really cool. But yeah, anyway, so what's interesting is the maid is saying that we have a very vivid imagination if we imagine the painting talking to us. I don't really understand the ability. Well, when we saw that memoir, we were going where the painting was, and then we kind of imagined being sucked into something, and then actually seeing the memories of Gazelle and Michelle. And I just really wonder if that has some relevance to this. And just something that we think of. But it's just so weird that it's kind of as if what we think about the world is kind of what the world is. Because, for example, we picture something as a painting talking, even though we can't see the painting whatsoever. And then it just suddenly is. And that is how it's interpreted, until we realise it doesn't exist. Oh, I mean, that's the weirdest thing though. I mean, there was a key there, but at the same time there was a painting there. And there wasn't really anything that the key was hanging off of, so how did we get the key? And it really is just as if the mansion is changing. Just depending on what we do. And that's the weirdest thing. I'm going to be very excited for how they explain this, because it's so unusual. And maybe this could be some sort of indication of the fact that our true personality is not really in gear with reality or something like that. I don't know. Looks like a prison cell. How weird. Oh my god, what's going to be at the top? Oh, I thought there was going to be something odd at the top. God, this art style is so different compared to before. That's really unusual. God. I just love how much We are in the dark. My god, I know! Yeah, god, don't slip, especially when you're higher up. I don't think you will have... Well, I don't know what will happen. I don't know if we will... What actually happens if we die? That is a good question. Where do we go? Because we already died at the beginning of this story. We were crucified. I see. Fog rather than what? Interesting. Yeah, that's interesting. I find it very interesting that the maid is making us experience our past and making us remember, yet she is not telling us any indication of what remembering might have meant. And it's interesting what the painting was telling us, because it's kind of feeling like it's our conscience talking to ourselves. And why is it that the maid is not telling us any of this? You would have thought that these are the most important things about remembering ourselves. Just the fact that if we remember ourselves, then we could break. It could be something so awful. And I mean, it's ironic to think about the fact that we probably still have the instincts for whatever has happened to ourselves. As you can see, when we are climbing up the spiral staircase, we're just instinctively feeling more and more anxious. How weird. My god. No. Just no. Ah, yes. I don't know, done a genocide. All in the past. That's ridiculous. I have not done a genocide. Just for clarification. I don't think I would be making this video if I had. i.e. I'd be probably in life sentence. Anyway, I should shut up. So I just want to get a full picture of this. Yeah, okay, so I suppose it's a bit weird having an an observation tower because they'd normally keep the bells within towers that were as high as those, but obviously there's no point in having a bell. There is some sort of room that is very, very high up that requires a lot of climbing. I wonder what is actually in said room and why is it significant to this next story as well. God, how weird. Spiral, like, looks like a 6. And then obviously this looks like this just flipped. I love how they do walls, and just in general the texturing of the walls looks very unusual. This is totally covered in darkness as well. Oh god. Oh my god. I remember a crucifixion being talked about in the beginning of the visual novel. Imagine if this has some sort of relevance. And which time period is this going to be set in as well? Is this going to have any relevance to Michelle and Gazelle's story as well, by the way, I wonder? Jesus Christ. It really does feel like it is all leading up to this idea of whoever the witch is in this story. I was thinking maybe the witch has relevance in the first and third stories, not really. I mean, i.e. in the third one it's hinted, and same for the first actually, but I don't know, not really the second one. My god, what's it going to be? Or is this... I wonder what this pattern means. Okay, right. I think this might be Michelle's story. I wonder if this is the first time the maid served at the mansion. Misty Manor. Well, that sounds fucking terrifying. I'm going to save the excitement for tomorrow. I just want to see, is this set in 1099 as well? Should say in the backlog. Come on. Oh, does it not actually say? Or maybe it doesn't say in the backlog. Oh fuck. Oh, this is gonna be so irritating. Hang on. No, it doesn't look like it. Okay. I don't know. Maybe this could have an indication. I just wonder. I bet you anything this memoir is gonna have some sort of relevance. But yeah. Anyway, it's gonna be really interesting to see how everything possibly wraps up. I mean, judging by my Steam achievements, we're not even halfway through. So whatever is next, it's probably going to be. There's probably going to be a bit more, which is good. I just really wonder what's going to happen in this story and what it's going to make us realise and what's going to happen afterwards. I just have the feeling that we are the witch. I don't know why though. I mean, if we are the witch and the maid wants us to remember, it just feels like that is the perfect combination. But why does the maid actually care about us? I hope we're going to get a lot of answers to our questions in this next chapter. It feels like, I mean, let's be honest, I think the atmosphere in chapter 1 is easily the best atmosphere in the visual novel, and ironically it was set in the oldest time period within the story. So if this is set in 1099, I'm expecting a lot from its atmosphere. And if I'm going to be honest, I'm expecting the most brutal read yet. I feel like this story is going to be one where people are merciless to each other, and obviously society is fucking cruel at times like these, so they're probably going to have lots of torture, violence, murder. I'm expecting the worst, and I mean, it's going to be interesting just to learn more. Maybe more about this story's mystery, and maybe to see who the witch is as well. And what her character is like. And why she is called a witch, and why the rumours have persisted for so long as well. Anyway, I'm going to go now, and I'm excited for tomorrow, so yeah, see you guys then.